PowerPoint is one of the world's most popular business tools out there right now. It has been around for a while and for good reason. There are millions of people who use PowerPoint every day, be it in terms of students, business professionals, marketeers, and more. It is considered to be one of the most effective tools for communication in a professional environment. Now, most of us have used PowerPoint before, I'm sure, but there is so much more to learn about this tool that offers a plethora of functionality and opens up a ton of possibilities. Keeping this in mind, we here at Great Learning have come up with this step-by-step PowerPoint tutorial to make sure that all of you all can learn the tool effectively and start using it right away. The tutorial consists of ample number of practical demonstrations to help with the theoretical learning. Excited? Superb. Watch on.
Before we get started, I want to introduce you to Great Learning Academy. This is a free initiative by Great Learning where you can have access to over 200 plus courses with 1000 plus hours of free content on all of the trending high demand domains absolutely free. Register now to complete the course and get your free certificate of completion as well. Check out the link in the description box of the video below for more details. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. This is done to make sure you do not miss out on any of the new updates or video releases from Great Learning. And of course, guys, if you enjoy this video, show us some love and do like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, right? So make sure you share this video with your friends, colleagues, and everyone who can make use of it. And at the end of it, make sure to comment on the video if you have any queries or any suggestions, and I'll be more than happy to respond to all of your comments.
Alright guys, now talking about the agenda of this step-by-step PowerPoint tutorial for beginners, I am sure you guys are all excited to learn this fantastic tool called PowerPoint. Now, in fact, you're seeing a PowerPoint presentation right now. We're going to minimize, we're going to learn a lot of things about PowerPoint. First of all, we're going to understand a little bit about the tool itself. The next thing after which I'm sure you guys will be very curious about to know is like, what is the importance of PowerPoint? Like, why is PowerPoint required and what situations are PowerPoints like really amazing and all of that. After which we're going to take a step-by-step guide to talk to you about all the things that you guys have to learn about PowerPoint, how you're supposed to go about learning it, having a structured way to learn the tool, and of course after that we're going to take a look at all the important concepts that's going to make your PPT go from good to being really fantastic, right? Things like animations, graphics, SmartArts, charts, a lot more. So we're going to be concentrating upon how we can get started with PowerPoint. It is not just getting started with the tool. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you've heard of the tool itself and you might have used it once or twice, but the goal here is to make sure you guys can create fantastic looking presentations at the end of it. But then to go on to do that, I highly suggest all of you all run through the entire video so that you have a complete continuity from the start till the end of how one can go on to master the tool in a step-by-step fashion. Right guys? Perfect. Now, a very important thing that I want to talk to you about is a quick did you know about PowerPoint. Now, it shouldn't come as a surprise to all of you all that PowerPoint is one of the most popular tools out there right now, right? I've seen school kids use it, people in colleges for their presentations, seminars, professionals who are probably giving seminars or handling meetings have used it. Whenever you're pitching a product, whenever you're supposed to buy a product or sell a product, I've seen people go on to use presentations to showcase about the product itself. And even in situations where you think PowerPoint might not be used, such as maybe creating a very nice animated video, right? An end-to-end animated video. Guess what? PowerPoint can be used for all of these things in a very effective way. Here's a fun fact in case if you guys are looking forward to knowing why you should consider learning PowerPoint, right? First of all the reasons aside, it's a fantastic tool. And I think the reason for it being this fantastic is that it's a really easy tool to use, and the amount of work you put in is justified by the amount of, it's literally how you can create beautiful looking presentations, which is very concise, very clear, and you can have your audience, understand a lot of different things, using the PPT itself. And there is no wonder that almost 40 million presentations go on every single day, and these 40 million presentations presentations, they go on to an audience of somewhere around 500 million users every single day. Let that sink in for a moment. Probably the last time you might have used it was when you were in school, when you were in college. It's been a long time that you have had a chance to create a presentation. Yes, we can understand, but knowing these trends, it's really fantastic to know 500 million people use this tool every single day, right? That's a fantastic thing. The best part about presentations, the best part about PowerPoint, in my opinion, is not just the fact that you can add some text, add some images, and be done with it. It's not exactly that. This is a fantastic tool which can do a lot more. For example, you can go on to add website links directly. You can add videos. You can run videos in the PowerPoint presentation itself, and you can do a ton of different things which you thought might not be possible. So hence the goal of this video is to make sure that you guys have an end-to-end clear understanding of that understanding of how you should use PowerPoint, not only just how, but how effectively you guys can make use of it as well, right? Perfect. Look at the last point. It says the average words on a PowerPoint slide is somewhere around 40 words. Now if you calculate all the words on your screen right now, I definitely think it should come up to 40 or 41, and this is a fact. The average words on a PPT, when you take a look at a survey, it's usually around 40 words. Sometimes, of course, there are cases where you do not have all 40 words on the screen. It's not a limitation that says, hey, you have to have 40 words. But when you take a look at probably 40 million presentations every single day, you can come up with a number saying, hey, on an average we see 40 words per particular slide. And well, this slide definitely has 40 words, and just looking at it, because I have created thousands of presentations in my lifetime, and as soon as I look at it, I know for certain that I can quickly take a guess about what the wording is like. Is it too much words? Is it too many images? And all of that, right? Perfect, guys. Now, the first thing that you guys definitely have to think about when you guys are learning PowerPoint is to, I believe, ask yourself some important questions. Since PowerPoint has ample number of use cases in multiple different domains, multiple ways of how you can use the tool itself. You can use the tool to present to an audience. You can use the tool to maybe showcase your resume to an interviewer. You can use the tool to actually present something in your interviews or your first day of your job to showcase something. So these were like 3 really unique things that came into my head, but if I give it a minute or so, I can probably tell you 10-15 more unique applications where it is fantastic to use PowerPoints, right? Perfect. But then to get to that point and to make sure you guys are not mixed up in a scenario where you don't know the goal, you don't know the outcome, you don't know the purpose of why the presentation is being created, that's the reason I have this slide, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very, very important slide where I want all of you all to concentrate here. Now, whenever you're creating a PowerPoint, the first question you really should ask yourself is, what is the purpose of creating the presentation? Why am I doing this? Does this require a bit of an artsy touch so that I can, have a little bit of fun on stage whenever I'm talking to an informal audience? Or am I in a situation where I do have a lot of heads of stage or something where I have to keep it very formal, I have to keep it concise, I have to keep it clear and not have it a little bit of artsiness? So all of these things you have to think about. You have to understand what is the goal for the audience who are sitting on the other side watching your presentation, or in fact you guys are in fact watching my presentation right now, and I believe I have made my purpose very clear about why we're doing this, right? We're doing this to make sure you guys can become experts in PowerPoint. Now, these are the questions I definitely ask myself every time I do a PowerPoint. Right from my college days where I was handling seminars, where I was giving talks to thousands of people at a time, all the way to now, after all of these years where we're still using this tool. And I do believe that asking this question at the start of every time you start creating a content is going to help you all a lot. Right now, we are clear with the purpose of this presentation that you guys are watching. Now, it might happen that there might be cases where and come to a point where you guys might have to use the PowerPoint to pitch a sale of a product, right? So maybe you created a new fashion brand, you're selling a product or something. So to talk about the advantages about the product, to make it a little catchy, to make it more understandable by the audience, you usually create a very beautiful looking PPT with a lot of animations, and then you say, hey, here are the reasons. I have a PPT behind me, right? So if you look at this very wonderful concept called as TED Talks, right? TED, TED. So there again, if you see people people use very clear, very concise presentation. Sometimes it has videos, images, animations, everything, right? So there's a million things you guys can do, but you have to know what it is that you're trying to get to use all of those things to make sure that it fits in the image there, right? So yeah, you might be doing it to sell a product, or you might be even trying to launch a marketing campaign, and this is used as a supporting documentation. This is used as a presentation where you're telling what the marketing campaign is all about, what is the goals that you have set for yourself, what is the goal that is supposed to, you're supposed to achieve at the end of the campaign, what are the pros and cons of it, cost. So you can have an entire, instead of having a verbal discussion, having images on the screen, showing people things will make more sense. Now, why do I say this? The thing I'm about to say now is a verified fact. Human brains, literally the human brain, can comprehend images 3,000 times faster than text. So if you show a piece of information via an image, it is supposed to be understood 3,000 times faster rather than maybe giving the person a Word document where he or she can sit and read through it and understand something, right? So this will work in your favor hugely if you are trying to create a beautiful looking presentation. At the end of the day, sometimes it so happens that it is a binary outcome. You do a great presentation for, where you're at a job interview. So either you get the job or not, right? You're doing a marketing campaign. Either your seniors approve of it or not. When you're thinking about a sales pitch, either you sell the product because your presentation was amazing or you don't, right? When we think about it in one train of thought, you can say, hey, it's just a presentation. But on the other side of things, if you are really trying to, talk to your audience, if you're really trying to connect with them, your PowerPoint is really a huge product. In fact, one of my friends who's an entrepreneur who sells products told me this when I asked him about, how important presentations are. He says the presentation should be as good as the product that we are selling, because even if you have a fantastic product in mind, but at the end of the day, if you're having a bad presentation to showcase the product, people will think your product is not good enough just because of the fact that you guys, they put out a bad way, not a bad way, maybe a mediocre way of presenting it. So guys, at this point of time, make sure you guys are very clear about your goal, the outcome, the purpose of why your presentation is need to be done. I understand that it's a very important thing, right? Look at the last point here. Are you trying to teach something using the presentation? Well, what am I doing right now? In fact, I am a subject matter expert who's trying to teach you all about how you guys can use PowerPoint by myself using PowerPoint, right? It's a really fantastic thing. As you can see, on the screen, I want all of you all to head to the comment section. I want your views, your opinions about this tutorial for sure, because we are using the tool to learn the tool itself. It's a fantastic thing. But then to go on to get to that process, ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you all to ask these questions. And once you do, I can guarantee you that all the answers usually always come down to the same point or the same train of thought. Whatever it is that you're trying to do with your presentation, either you're selling it, you're showing it at your interview, you have a huge seminar, you're trying to have a marketing campaign, you're teaching something online, or whatever it is. So whenever you're doing any of these things, the first question you must ask yourself is the purpose. Once you've asked a lot of questions, I'm sure you guys will be asking more questions from now on. Once you do that, it will always lead to the same train of thought that says, how best can you tell your story to make sure your audience can engage with you or your brand, right? This is a very important thing. Now, I am trying to engage all of you all via multiple channels. I'm talking, you can see me on the screen. You have this beautiful looking presentation. There's lots of things going on with respect to us using, bold text in between. We have a lot of colors going on. We have beautiful images. We have a subheader. So we have a lot of things, even though on the outside, it seems like, hey, this is a presentation. There is so much thought that goes into these presentations to make sure that, you guys can engage with the content. Because at the end of the day, as a learner in this situation, if you guys are engaging with the content, and I've seen all of you all, whoever, tunes into our live sessions, and all of you all who watch our videos on Great Learning Academy, and of course, on YouTube as well, you guys do a fantastic job of engaging with the content. I've seen that you guys ask so many questions in the comment section. It means that you guys are engaging with it. You want to know more, and that makes us really happy, right? So guys, thank you so much for that. But yes, coming back to the point, you guys should think about this as well. Whenever you are creating a presentation, you're basically telling a story. You're talking to an audience. Now, all the thousands if not millions of people are going to watch this video. If you guys were in front of me, I would still do it the exact same way. There is so much that you guys can go on to, you can build an entire story, start with an introduction, end with a proper summary, and it's almost like watching through a movie. If you're really enjoying what's being shown on the screen, and if you really if you have great content to see. So I hope this feels like the same thing that I just spoke about. Yes, you guys absolutely love the content we put out. I'm already aware of that, but yes guys, this is an important point. Whenever you ask all those questions, you guys definitely should take a moment and think about this. So how best can you tell the story? This is us taking a bird's eye view of PowerPoint itself. Just before we can go on to delve into the into understanding why PowerPoint is so important today. Right now, this is a tool which again surpasses all the other tools in terms of usage for businesses, at least in my opinion. You have 500 million people who make use of PowerPoint every single day. So when you have a good amount of the population of the world using this tool, it is definitely, in my books at least, considered to be the world's most effective business tools out there. You can go on to do a lot of things. Do you have to give a presentation for work? You can do it. Do you have to convey a point to someone else? Yes. Do you have to teach someone? Yes. Do you have to sell a product? Yes. Do you have to market for a product that you're trying to sell? Absolutely yes. Are you trying to showcase something about you or your brand or your product? Possible. Are you trying to in fact even sell PowerPoint stuff as a product itself? Guys, I can just get carried away by talking to you about so many different things, but yes, I think you get to know it, right? College students, freshers, people who are looking for jobs, people who already have jobs, people who are switching jobs, no matter where you are in your career right now, I think PowerPoint is a tool that you really should have in your arsenal, because you will never know until probably the last moment that you might have to use PowerPoint to take it up a notch, and then instead of having to struggle around, instead of having to put in a lot of time and effort there, if you guys know the tool generally itself, right? If you guys know how to work with it, it's a one-time learning most of the time, and you guys can definitely use it for your lifetime. So there is a ton of situation where PowerPoint is used, but yes, this is the most important thing that I want all of you all to know, is that there is an audience of 500 million people every single day for this particular tool, and with its possibilities, what most of the people use is probably the basic aspects of PowerPoint. Have a title, have some data there, have some text there, done. But if you're trying to keep it really engaging, but if you're trying to tell a story, I think it's just like how you would go into the theaters and watch a movie, right? The thing has to be engaging with you. The movie has to talk to you. You have to feel something, you have to understand something, you have to learn something. That is exactly what we keep in mind, whenever we go on to teach you this as well. So yes, it is true. You might have different goals just because you guys are divided into 3 roles. Once, if you guys are students, I believe this is very, very important, because I myself as a student, I learned how to use PowerPoint for a couple of years, and then I realized, hey, we have just scratched the surface. Let me learn more. Of course, this was way back when I was in school itself. But from then on, getting onto the stage, talking to people, showcasing my PowerPoint presentations, right? I am convinced that I have over, I think 2,000, 3,000 presentations for sure that I've done all the way from school till now. But that is for sure, right? So knowing when I used to do it as a student, that was for a very different purpose, probably, even though I was giving a seminar and teaching people then. But now as a subject matter expert, the way we think about our presentations, the way our goal, our purpose is, it's very different. Even though, yes, we are teaching, but we are also trying to make sure we can put the highest quality of learning out there for all of you all, highest quality of content, and to drive this great user experience for all of you all learners to learn really well, right? That is how I morphed myself from this role into another. But at the end of the day, yes, I've been in a business professional role where I've had to use PowerPoints to either pitch a product or to showcase the performance of a product of sales or something like that to our immediate managers or to stakeholders or to the board of directors, right? So whenever you're engaging an audience as a business professional, that is something where it has to be clear, concise, on the point, and you have to make sure that you can convey exactly what it is, right? It's literally like a presentation which answers the questions that the audience might have. Right now, I'm sure all of you all have questions as well, and I hope throughout this video, even though you cannot right now, since I'm recording it, you cannot right now put it in the comment section. I aim to answer all the questions because I sort of think, I'm like, hey, if I'm showcasing this slide for you all, you may have this question, you may think of it like that way, right? So that train of thought is also working on one part of my brain, where I'm trying to make sure that I'm catering to your user experience directly as well, right? So guys, yes, coming back to the point, regardless of you guys being students, subject matter experts, or business professionals, PowerPoint is a very important tool for all of you all to learn. And yes, the goals are definitely different for students, subject matter experts, and business professionals. And right now, as a role of a subject matter expert, you can sort of get a clear understanding of how best we try to convey the content that's on your screen right now, right? Perfect. So guys, without further ado, I think it is time we jump into PowerPoint and understand what it is that this tool has to offer for us, right? So in many of these places, we are going to be taking a look at demos, hands-ons, and practically taking a look at the tool. It's a very, very informative tool which has to offer a lot of different things for all of you all. So let's get started. Now, this is the part where we get into the step-by-step aspects of learning the tool itself, right? This is step number one. Step number one says understand the user interface. Well, let me go to hit escape, and right now we have come to a point where we are not seeing the slideshow anymore, but we're seeing the actual presentation, right? I'm going to use this presentation itself to showcase a lot of different things. Now, let me quickly walk you through over the important tabs, the important charts, to understand what the user interface is like, right? So this is the basic user interface of PowerPoint. As soon as you open it, probably you can this is the image that you're given with. You can create a new presentation, and this is the fun part about PowerPoint. If you guys like keeping things colorful, if you guys really like presenting in a way where it showcases your content in a structured fashion, yet at the same time it has a bit of color, it has nice amount of graphics in it, I think yes, if you look at it, the latest PowerPoint versions now, they usually come, I think this was there way back in the older versions as well. So you can see you have access to all of these templates itself. So the thing that you see on your screen right now is a sample of what you can do with that particular presentation. So you can pick up all of these things. For example, here's one, it says main event. So this is probably something like you announcing a product, revealing a product, or something like that, right? So this is usually like a banner or something you would see on the billboards out there and all that, right? So maybe if you have a technical presentation where you have to, you're engaging a non-technical audience, a board of directors, something like ION or EON as it's called, this is a great template. But of course, it doesn't mean you guys have to start with the template. You can start completely with the blank presentations. With the blank presentations, you guys can get started, have your own theme. It just depends on how creative you are, how you can get your PPT to look great, right? Perfect. Now guys, if you can take a look at the tabs on the left, right, I'll quickly walk you through what there. First of all, as soon as you click on the new tab, you'll be given an option to create a new presentation. You can create one from scratch, or you can go on to use the existing themes, the existing content that is there, right? So if you can just check, you can suggest for everything online as well. There's many places, if you have, of course, if you guys have the genuine version of the Microsoft PowerPoint, which I suggest all of you all get, because Microsoft Office is a fantastic tool, you can just see, maybe you guys are going back to school. So back to school, in fact, is actually where you might have to work on your projects for your school, theses, projects, and all of that, papers and reports, all of that, right? So I'm just clicking on new and I'm just searching here. Maybe I have to show a lot of infographics, right? So they have templates for infographics as well. Annual reviews, you're trying to pitch something, you have a travel design blog, you have a tech blog. Look at this, right? So this just goes on and on. There's thousands and thousands of templates. You can get started with this. By the time I did that, you guys could have just picked 5-10 different templates. You could have gone through hundreds of them, and there's a lot to do. This is the most fun part, I believe, right? So even for the most beginners who think that, hey, I might not be able to make the best looking PPTs out there, well, there are best looking templates out there which will just lift up your PPTs oomph, let's just say, right? So that is something which is advantageous. The next option is, of course, if you have to open up any of the presentation. As you can see, I create a lot of presentations for work, so there's a lot of presentations here. You can save it, and just as soon as I hit save, it's just saving right now, even though I didn't any change. So again, coming back, you can save it as whatever you want, wherever you want. You can directly upload it and save it to the cloud, which I think is fantastic. One important thing that you guys might not know about PowerPoint is this, guys. So it is not only that you can create a PPT out of it to present it to someone. You can create a PDF. You can preserve all the layout. You can do some formatting. You can have fonts, images, videos, whatever it is. You can create a PDF, share that PDF. If you want to create an end-to-end video with it, you have to record something, you have to add voices to the slides, you're going to be using transitions, animations. I'm going to show all of these things in this tutorial. But at the end of the day, if you guys have to do anything like this, it is not just a tool where you save it as a .ppt file, but you can create a video, you can put it on a CD, you can put it on a DVD, you can put it on your cloud platform, and you just share it as a video. When the other person puts it in their DVD player probably, or clicks on the file which is created, they'll see the presentation as the videos, right? That is the most important thing that a lot of us are really interested to understand, because having this kind of a functionality which you might have never used before opens up your creative thought in a way where, hey, you'll think about, okay, so how can I use this? The next time if I have to make a video, instead of using, all the other tools and making sure 3 or 4 things are done, edited, all of these things, you can directly create a video, you can record audios for your slides, you can do a ton of different things directly here, right? So as you can see, yes, you can create handouts as well. So handouts are basically what you would give out to an audience when you are actually presenting the particular thing, right? So if you have a seminar and you're presenting maybe a 30-40 slide presentation, to make sure that these guys follow along with you, you usually print out the presentation in a handy way and give it out. That's what is called as a handout. You can edit it, you can structure it the way you want. This is basically a Word document, and whenever the slide in the handout changes, it changes whenever the thing in the presentation changes, so it updates automatically as well. So we're going to check out one more concept where these automatic updations happen. It's a fantastic thing. Make sure you guys are tuned for that, right? Perfect. The next thing is you can save it as images. This is another fantastic thing which I used to find myself doing a lot. So whenever you have PowerPoints, and whenever you want to share it in a manner where it's very easy for people on their mobiles and all of that to watch, instead of having them install the PowerPoint tool on their phone, just take a slide shot of the image or something, share that particular screenshot as a particular image. How simple is that? So you can open your presentation automatically in the slideshow view. You can just export the entire PPT. For example, if I have 50-60 slides right now, I can make sure to have 60 images, one for each slide. But then of course you're going to lose a bit of functionality if you have animations, if you have, of course, you'll have transitions and all of that. That of course you cannot put it down on paper, right? That's one thing you'll miss. But yes, having having this kind of a feature to know that you guys can do it is something fantastic. The next button is close, and you have 2 other options as well, accountant option. This is mostly if you guys are using PowerPoint, and if you want to use the cloud features that they provide as well. So it gives you this kind of a customized feel no matter where you go. If you're using your office on your computer, if you're using it on your mobile, if you're using it on the cloud platform, they have the Office 365 cloud platform where you can use all of these online as well. So right, so there you can see, right, so you can find out all the product information. Of course, this is a genuine Microsoft Office that's been activated here. It's the Office Professional Plus 2016. This is a great version now. Even though as soon as you look at it, you might be like, 2016 was 5 years ago. Why are we still using a 5-year-old tool? Well, that's a very good question, but at the end of the day, it's when it came out in 2016, or when it came out a little bit later than 2016, it has been built keeping in mind the future aspect of things. So it's when they came out, they said this is a future-proof presentation tool, and right now we are seeing how future-proof it is, because the entire world still uses this, and it is good, it is great, it does the job, and we're not looking for anything fancy here. We want the job to be done in a fantastic way, and with all of this, it gives you a beautiful way to go on to do this. So your first basic thing is to understand the user interface. Now there's a quick save icon. You really don't have to go to file and all of that. Just hit that, or hit Control S. It saves your file. Hitting Control Shift S will make sure it'll give you the option to save as instead of just save. There's a lot of things you can do. On the left, you can see all the slides that we're going to be using throughout this presentation. On the top we have the panel. We're going to just get to the panel in the next point. On the below, it is telling me that I have 49 slides and this is slide number 11. I can add notes in case if I have to use notes to explain something. I rarely add notes. I never add notes most of the time because I'm prepared. But it doesn't mean that if you add notes you're unprepared. No, notes are something which are really helpful. Maybe you have a train of thought that you guys want to go on to convey to the audience or something. So in that case, it's an amazing tool. Then you can add comments. So comments are really fantastic. I'm going to come to this. I have a separate point here, so when we get to that, we're going to discuss that as well, right? So you can view it in multiple ways. This is called as the slide sorter view, where you can see all the things. You can manually start dragging and dropping all the slides wherever you want, in case if you have to change the order really quickly. Then you have something called as the reading view, which will give you access to the presentation this way. So guys, the most common feature I'm sure you guys are all familiar with is the slideshow presentation view, right? So as soon as I hit the slideshow button on the bottom right, you can see that we go into full screen and we have the presentation here. Now, an important thing I want all of you all to understand is this thing, right? So we covered all the slides. Let's just go in. Let's just go further. Done. Yes, we were here. Right? Perfect. Now we are at the second point. The second point, whenever you guys are getting started with PowerPoint, is to make sure you know all the options. You have, it's almost like walking into a restaurant, not knowing what the menu has to offer, and you just randomly giving out an order, right? You don't do that. Whenever you go to a restaurant, you usually ask the menu, see what all is there, and then you decide. The same thing I want every one of you all to do whenever you use PowerPoint. I'll just hit escape again and come to this view. As you can see, right, so there is so many tabs, so many options here that you guys can use. First of all, let me walk you through the tabs really quickly. First of all, you have the home tab. This is where you would have access to the clipboard. So if you're cutting something, copying something, if I click Control C, as you can see, the paste option got activated because I copied something. Now if I hit Control V again, it gets pasted. Now I have two of those, right? It's pretty simple. So all of these you can find on the left. Then you have the font tool. The font tool will talk about the size of your font, color of the font, whatever it is. Then you have the formatting paragraph tools. Paragraph tools, you can add like bullet points, add numbers, align it to the left, right, center. You can justify the text as well, text direction. So instead of having the text show as this way, you can also have it shown as this way. Right now, I'm going to undo this, don't worry. But so if I have to show it in this way, where maybe I just want like every single word to be there or something, all of that is completely possible. So it's not just that. You can see the options here. You can rotate it, you can stack it one after the other. This was the option we were going for, and then you just pull it down and it becomes one, right? Perfect. Then you can align the text to now you see a box around the text, right? So this box around the text can become bigger as well. Now this is a big box, but you can see that the text is on top of the box and not middle of the box. So if I just select the text, hit align middle, you can see now that it came to the middle, but it's not in the center. So as soon as I click this, it's at the center as well, right? But yes, the box is not shown at the end of the day, but if you have to align it, you definitely have multiple options to go on to do it. Now, so coming to the options part, so on the right, you can create all the shapes that's required, circles, squares, all of these things. I'm sure this is very basic. You guys can go on to know this. This is the arrange option. Arrange option is very important. For example, if I click that and say align center, now it just moved it slightly to a point where it was to the center, right? It was 90% in the center, as you can see. But if you guys have an OCD, where you have to make sure things are really placed exactly the way it is, you'll never see, presentations from me where things are either on the left, right, or placed in a haphazard way. No, I make sure all the content is structured, and for good reason, to make sure you guys have better user experience, right? Perfect. Right, next go to the insert tab. Insert tab is basically as what it says, whatever you want to insert into your PowerPoint, everything is there, right? So everything from adding a new slide, adding table, pictures, you can have an online picture as well. So you don't have to have the picture in your computer. You'll have a link to it. And as soon as people click on the link, they'll just be taken to that image as well. You can upload entire photo albums. You can create shapes, SmartArt and charts. Yes, SmartArt and charts is something we are going to check out in detail in the next coming sections as well. But you can add comments, text boxes, word arts. Word art is basically like a fancy way of having fonts, as you can see on your screen. Date and time, slide numbers. You can add slide numbers in case if you guys are printing things out. You can add like mathematical symbols, right? See, it gives you, if you are a student, I think this definitely should help you out. about, right? Look at this. You have the binomial theorem, area of circle, Fourier series, identities, Taylor series. Oh my god, this is amazing to take a look at it, because as soon as I look at it, I just remember all the things, all the time that I've done the presentations in college. I've used a lot of these mathematical formulas whenever I've had to explain. But yes, having this feature is an amazing thing. I absolutely love it. And yes, I just clicked on the equation part of it, so you can see that there's a lot of different things you can do if you're into mathematics, statistics. And since I am into data science, this is something I use a lot. So this is something you guys can go on to check. You can add videos, symbols, audio. You can record the screen right then and there. Here, coming to the design tab will showcase you guys all the different themes that you guys can use. Now, the theme that we are using right now is a customized theme that we have here at Great Learning. You can see we have some accent materials here. We have a bar on the left, we have a bar on the top, we have these two lines, we have text, and I usually like to add images with all the titles and all of that, right? So you can see a lot of different things in that regard as well. So design will help you sort of get to this new design. As soon as I click on this, now you can see that the entire design changed, but it will not work for my presentation because I usually have it white. So as soon as I make everything dark, you cannot read things, right? So it depends. If you're starting out with the design, yes, you can design it as per requirement. Next, when we're talking about transitions aspect, this is where you would think about a slide transition, how one slide moves into the other, right? Now, this is a divider slide that we saw, right? I usually use this to tell you what topic we are learning, and then we're moving to the actual topic itself. Now here, I have a different transition from this one, right? Let me show you. Let me go to the previous slide. Right, let me just click on slideshow, and perfect. Right, now this is the previous slide. Since I have a divider slide which is taking you to the next topic, look at the way the screen transitions right now. Right, you saw that things just went from right and swooped across the screen. This is where I tell you, hey, this is what we're going to learn. The next thing is it doesn't do the same thing. Now it just vanishes or it goes up, right? So you see, this is two different transition effects. This was one, this was the other. Even though it is very subtle when you're learning, you might not notice all of this. You might be concentrating on the things on the screen, but these are very, very important to drive the user experience. So transition menu talks about that. Then we have animations. Animations I'm not going to talk about right now because we have a fantastic section here where we're going to discuss that. Slideshow panel is where you can record your entire slideshow. You can present from this particular side, go to the start. You can set up a lot of different things and you can do a ton of that stuff, right? And then when we come to the review part of it is where you can do spell checks. Of course, having correct spellings is something which everyone has to do in presentations. Everyone is doing, I presume. So you can do all of that. You can look up the content. You can translate it into different languages with probably 3 or 4 mouse click. You can add comments. You can do a lot of that. And if you click on the view menu, view will take you to this particular aspect where you have to look at the back end of how this entire thing works. Do you want to look at it with the normal view, slide view, notes page, reading view, however it is that you want to present, right? This is done. Then we have a concept called as slide master. Slide master is something we're going to check out as well. Now let me click on full screen again because we are done with the first step. We understood the user interface. We are done with the second step now that we understood some of the options that are available for us to use. Now this is a very, very important thing, ladies and gentlemen, knowing what the options are there. What is it that you can use, all the sliders, all the tabs, what all those have to offer. My advice to you guys at this point of time is, even though you might not have anything straight up, just to not have an idea to get started with the presentation, usually just start it off with a blank presentation, start fiddling around with all the options, see what you can create. This is how you build that creativity in you, by doing new things which you might not have done before, right? So this is a very important step for all of you all. The next step is using existing templates. For example, what you see on your screen right now is probably 5 or 6 slides taken from another presentation. This is a template. A template basically talks about having all of these elements ready on the screen for you to use. You just have to fill up certain data there. Now, this is something which a lot of you all would have done, I'm sure. You usually, whenever it's time for a presentation, you go online, you find a beautiful looking template, you download it, you edit things inside it, and you're done, right? Well, some people think that it's wrong to do that, but in my opinion, it is perfectly okay. Because see, by the time you create a presentation which has these beautiful looking graphs and infographics, details, depth, there is so much you have to understand. White spaces, blank spaces, there is literally everything that you guys have to know about here, right? So if you are in a hurry, if you have a presentation tomorrow, you cannot become an expert in PowerPoint in just one day, right? So using something like this will portray to your audience saying, hey, okay, so this is a beautiful looking beautiful looking PowerPoint. But at the same time, there are free templates and paid templates. Sometimes free templates usually are the ones which are extremely popular. There's someone who's created it, uploaded to a website where you can use. In fact, I'll be showing you one simple template going ahead as well. But yes, I personally don't use templates because I love creating all the things that you see on your on the screen right now is completely done by me. But that's the thing. Sometimes I do have to use it, and when I use it, the results are usually beautiful. So as you can see on your screen right now, there's thousands of templates that you guys can go on to use. There is literally no limit as of what I've seen, right? Every time I search free PPT template, there are new websites which has thousands of templates. So if you have a thought or an idea in mind, know that there is usually a template where someone might have thought of something similar or same idea that you have and would have created it. The best part is all of it that you see on your screen will be editable. The image that you put here is editable. You can edit the number, you can put in the text. So usually there's a dummy text there, so you can remove all the dummy text, put on whatever is required, and you can just work with it. That is how simple things are. So this is a very important step. Start exploring templates. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's a great way, in fact, to get started, to know the power of the tool. So I suggest all of you can definitely start exploring, start looking at templates, understanding it, taking a look at it in a way where you might not have done before, right? It's an important thing, guys. Perfect. Now, after you all have started using templates, sometimes it so happens that you've come to a point where in a template you see beautiful looking animations. Animations are fantastic things which take your PPT from being static into keeping things moving, having wonderful looking things on your screen right now. But you have to understand that animation is not just for fun, not just to make your audience smile a little or something. It is a very, very powerful tool which adds visual cues. Visual cues, what I mean by that is when someone is seeing your presentation, when someone is watching you present, right? So everything that is shown on the screen, if something is moving, the human eye is attracted enough to go on to see that first. So if you have a presentation where you have things moving, people definitely will put their eyes on that, concentrate. So it's almost like your brain wants to go into tunnel vision to just make sure that it understands what's going on there in that aspect of that moving thing, right? Even though it might be the most silliest thing that's moving on screen, you can hold better audience retention through that. We have seen it. I have seen it through thousands of presentations, and I'm sure you guys will see it the next time you want to present as well. So make sure you not only use animation, ladies and gentlemen. Using animation is one thing, but understanding what these animations do to your audience, that is where the real story, that is where the masala lies. So make sure you guys are putting in a good amount of time there as well, right? And as always, it doesn't have to be animations all the time. Now there are two types of things. One, a presentation where you have zero animation, zero transition, it's very vanilla, it's very plain, it still works. The second kind of PPT that I usually come across whenever I am watching someone else's content or something is a PPT where it has tons of animations, tons of moving stuff. I have had people tell me that, hey, if you have a lot of things moving on your screen constantly, your audience will be distracted. And I've seen that myself, because when I watch certain videos, when I'm learning new things as well, it so happens that if there are a lot of things moving and complex things happening on the screen, I might not be able to concentrate, right? Now, I've seen thousands of videos, I've created hundreds of videos. So I am to a point where I know what I'm supposed to be watching on the screen, or if I'm supposed to be listening to the person, or if I'm supposed to be listening and seeing the screen as well. So all of this comes with experience. But as a person on the other side who's presenting, you have to keep all of these things in mind. So we're going to talk about the animation part in detail in the next section. Do not worry about that. But ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very important that you are checking out this particular point, right? Now, this point is such an important one that if I have to add a lot of emphasis onto one point here, I think it would be this one. See, you have to understand a very important thing. Whenever you're creating a presentation, which might go as a video on the YouTube platform or whatever it is, or it's being recorded or something, the audience who's watching it will not always watch it on a really big television. They'll not always watch it on a 28-inch monitor. 18-inch monitor. No, sometimes it so happens that people tune in from their mobile phones. Now, when they tune into their mobile phones, well, the screen right now in front of me is a pretty big screen. But if I start putting very small fonts, right? Of course, on a big screen, a small font will also look big. You guys will be the ones who will suffer, because if you're watching this on your mobile phone, it will be very difficult for you to know. You guys have to really look close at it. You have to stare into your phone to realize the text. That is not good user experience, right? That is why whenever you see presentations of not just me, but every one of our experts here at Great Learning, we make sure the font is readable, not only for the people who tune in through your to your computers, to your big screens or whatever it is. But even if you have a 5-inch, 6-inch mobile, all of our content should be visible for all of you all when you go on to the landscape mode and see it, right? So this is the user experience part of it that we have thought of, and it definitely works. If you just use tiny fonts, light colored fonts against light colored backgrounds, that usually is very horrible, and that gets even bad when people have to watch it on their mobile phones. So guys, for all the people who are watching this in fact on your mobile phones right now, I hope you're having a great experience. It isn't that just that we didn't bother about it, it's just that we put in a lot of time to understand how best can we have things put on the screen, so that even the people who are learning from their mobile phones can have the best learning experience, right? This is something you guys should think about whenever you're presenting something as well. If it is a recorded session, especially, of course, if you have a live audience, this is a point which you might not have to think about. But at the end of the day, hey, if there's something being recorded, something which will be republished, something which will go onto a platform where a lot of people might watch it, I highly suggest you guys know that majority of people today, they just don't use their computers all the time. We use mobiles for everything. I shop on my mobile, social media is on the mobile, we talk on, we just do a lot on our mobile. So understand that whenever you create a video, people will also watch it on their mobiles and cater to that, right? So I won't explicate more on the point. I think you guys got the point, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very, very important point that I want all of you all to know, right? Perfect. The next point is a really fun one where you guys have to definitely think about working on the management side of things. Now, you might be very confused. Hey, we are working on PowerPoint. Why are we bringing managing, reviewing, comments, and all of these here? Well, let me tell you this. Usually in a professional working environment, and you might have felt this if you guys were in college who's working on a common project with a common presentation, probably 4 people are working on a presentation where you have a couple of people create a couple of slides and you bring it together at the end, right? Well, in a situation where more than one person is involved in creating a single PowerPoint presentation, things can get confusing to a very big extent. It happens. But to avoid all of that, you are given the option by the people who have created Microsoft Office, that way that you can add certain comments here. For example, if I'm reviewing someone else's PPT, let's just say that this was another subject matter expert who created this PPT. I've come to slide 16. Let me just create a spelling mistake on my own here so that I can show you that hey, you can go on to fix the spelling mistake concepts as well, right? So just give it a second. Yes. So now if I just delete this is a spelling mistake. Now I found this out. Since this is someone else's presentation, of course it is not, it is mine. In a hypothetical situation, since it's someone else's, I'll create a comment here. I'll put a comment here, new comment saying, hey, there is a spelling error. You can see who's put the comment. It is showing my name. My name is Anirudh Rao, right? There is a spelling error. Please fix it. Of course, I can fix it myself, but at the end of the day, if I have to review a lot of PPTs, this is what needs to be done instead of me going to fix every one of them manually. And if I'm maybe if I'm the manager of this person who was doing it, I would tell the person, instead of calling every time I find an error, there's a comment. As soon as they come scrolling down, they'll see there's a comment. They'll click on it. It will show the comment that says there's a spelling error. Please fix it. And then they can resolve this particular comment as well, right? So as soon as they click X on it, it is resolved. The comment is no longer there. But then before resolving, they usually solve whatever is the issue, right? Now the error is sorted, comments tab is closed and done. So this is an important aspect that I want all of you all to focus on. It is not just thinking about creating the presentation, but if you're playing a team game, if you're in a situation where there's more than one stakeholder involved with your presentation, this is something you guys have to think about. Think about managing it. Think about making the life of someone else pretty easy, because it just adds a ton of convenience, right? Whenever you have to review the slides, whenever I just showed you how to add a comment in a simple way, 3 mouse clicks and 1 enter, comments were done. So I can go on to add multiple different comments like this wherever I find something which has to be improved. This usually happens. Comments are something we see on a daily basis. Whenever you send your presentation in, maybe for your superior or something, or whenever our juniors send it to us, we add comments and send it back saying, hey, I've added some comments, please take a look at them and please do the changes wherever necessary. That just avoids a ton of back and forth communication, which would have just taken a lot of time and would have been inefficient as well, at least in my opinion. So this is an important point that I want you guys to think about, to concentrate about, and at the same time to work on as well. Right? Perfect. Now that we have gone on to think about all of these things, I think it is time we get started with a couple of these concepts ourselves, take a small hands-on, understand, a couple of concepts such as slide masters, animations, sheets, and all of that. So we're going to be understanding what it is theoretically, and also at the same time, we are going to ensure that we can take a practical approach to do it, right? Perfect. But then before we go on to these individual concepts, I want to make sure we cover, for example, we covered 16 slides from the first one till now. So I just want to make sure that all of you all see a lot of things which you might have missed on the 16 slides before we get started with the concept of slide master and all that, right? Let me just go to the first slide. Let me tell you what I think makes this presentation good, right? First of all, yes, you'll see that this presentation is by me. I'm a part of Great Learning. My name is Anirudh Rao. I have a logo of the PowerPoint thing here, which I think if I remove the logo, it just becomes a little plain. So I love adding a bit of images there, and you can see I love adding colors as well. So it's not just to keep it colorful. This is a highlighted keyword that is shown here, right? Step-by-step PowerPoint tutorial for beginners. This is a highlight. This is what I want your eyes to go on to the first thing as soon as you look at this particular statement, right? So that is the reason you see colors here. And you can see on the left bottom, we have a couple of design lines. Again, I love keeping my presentations really artistic, really nice to look at. So this is something I'm really proud of. And then on the top left, you can see that we just see a couple of boxes, and this kind of line looks weird when you take a look at it in this view. But as soon as I go on to the full screen, right, look at that. This is what you guys are seeing, right? The presentation, the slideshow view. Look at the boxes on the left. It almost looks like it's a design of its own. Look at the bottom left. There are lines, which is just adding a bit of color, a bit of oomph. It is just keeping it as structured as possible, as simple as possible, but at the same time beautiful to look at. This is my aim whenever I go on to create a presentation, right? It's only this. I'll just go to the next slide. If you go to the agenda slide, you can see that we have the Great Learning logo there. You can take a look at it. A title is talking about what exactly it is that I want to cover. Then I have a subtitle there, a divider, which is explicating, and which is basically explaining what the main title is. So the agenda of what? This is the thing, it's the agenda of, right? This is the session name. So that's what I usually do. Then you can see that I have bullet points for all the things that we were going to be covering in this particular session. I have an image for that on the right as well. So if I just remove the image, you can see that it just becomes text. I am not a fan of just having text everywhere on the screen. That's why you'll see a ton of images in my presentations. And this, I believe, people usually love seeing images and text together, and that's the reason why it just adds a bit more clarity to the topic. And right now you can see the images make a ton of sense. It's not just images which are put there, right? Now this is the image of a guy who's on YouTube who's teaching something there. You can see that it says YouTube live. There are 80 people who tuned in, and there's a person who's sitting and watching it as well. Well, this is literally the situation right now. I am a guy who's sitting and teaching on this side, and you're the person who's watching on the other side, right? So it just adds a ton of niceness to the slide, right? Perfect. You can see all the left dividers, all the left lines, all the nice colorfulness we have on the screen, and you can see that with each of these individual points as well, we have some places where they're bold, and where things are bold, it just catches your eye first. It just catches your attention first, and that is bolded for a reason, not a random word that's been bolded. That is where I want you to focus when I'm when I'm presenting this as well. I'm sure that is where your brain would subconsciously take your eye to it and say, oh, there's something bold, let me see that, right? That is the purpose of it. And coming ahead, you can see more color that's added into the presentation. Of course, you're going to see all of these things which are aligned really well. You can see my video on the bottom right, I'm sure, right? So you can see that again the heading is a bit of color, and right next to the heading I have a tiny image which sort of adds on whatever I'm supposed to talk about here, but it just gives you a little image clarity as well. Again, we have a subtopic, we have an image on the right. And as you can see, you saw that transition was very different, right? Now let me do this. Now, yeah, so this is an agenda slide. As soon as I go on to do this, it was a fade transition. The next thing, it's a swipe transition where you just saw things go. But again, it's not the swipe that comes again. It changes, right? So let me just go back quickly and showing this particular slide to you all. This is where the color difference comes into the picture. As you can see, it is done for a purpose to highlight things, and I love doing it. You might have seen this in a lot of places, right? So again, look, we're keeping things a lot. We've added a ton of color to these presentations. We've added a lot of images which make sense. Things are, no one slide will feel like it's boring, right? This is what you guys have to think about whenever you're creating presentation as well. It's not like the first presentation you ever do will be the best looking one. I understand you can learn and grow through your presentations, and of course whatever you're seeing right now is years and years of thinking, years and years of understanding how to create good presentations. And of course through the years we all evolve, we all continuously learn, and this is where we are right now, right? You can see the same thing, all the colors. You can see the the little designs on the left and right. You can see the highlighted part of the word. You can see an image which talks about what you're doing, right? So the guy is cheerful because we're trying to be happy that this is a tool that's being used by 500 million people, and if we do it right, well, the outcome at the end of it is very beautiful. For example, now that I'm creating this video to teach you guys about PowerPoint, the goal that is associated with it, as soon as I achieve the purpose of the goal to create great content for all of you all, that makes me really happy. And just knowing that I'm walking you guys through this presentation itself, first of all, is making me really happy, as you can see. But yes, this is a ton of hard work. As you can see, it's not as simple as it looks, but I'm not saying that this is something only experts can do. All of you all who are watching this video, our point here is to make sure you guys can go on to think about something this way where you might have not thought about it, and you guys doing something in a similar way as well, right? So as you can see, there's another image here. We have a sentence for our subheader. You can see that with every single point that we are trying to discuss here, we have images, we have text, we are giving a whole end-to-end experience here, right? That is what I want all of you all to think about whenever you guys create this as well, right? So guys, now coming to an important point where we can discuss about the concepts of slide masters and a lot of different things, which is going to not only save a lot of your time but is also very effective. It'll basically, slide master is the concept that's going to save you a ton of time. I'll leave you at that, and we can get started with it now, right? Alright guys, let us get started with the concept of slide master. Now, slide master is really a fantastic concept that I'm sure all of you all will tend to appreciate. Now, see, sometimes it so happens that we have to create content where things can get a little repetitive. For example, if you have to add a copyright message at the bottom, a logo at the top right, or whatever it is, right? So guys, if I have to go on to add the logo manually, for example, let me copy the logo. For example, I'll use the Great Learning logo right now. Now, you can already see the logo on the top right, but I have to manually do it on the top left. What do? I'm going to resize this. I'm going to place it manually. And once I'm happy with that, what do? I just copy this. I paste it for each and every slide. Control C, Control V. I keep doing it, right? Let me just delete this. The disadvantage when I go on to manually do what I just showed you was the fact that it will not only consider that image on every single slide as its own, it increases the size, it increases the memory load for where the PPT is being shown, and it wastes your time in a way where you can do all of that in a single click. That is the concept of slide master. Slide master talks about this kind of a hierarchical process that exists in a way where you can just do changes on one slide that will eventually reflect onto either a group of slides or like all the slides there there are. Maybe you want to add some themes, possible. Maybe you want to change some layouts, it is possible. And maybe you just want to have the same common header, footer or something which goes on every single slide, instead of you manually putting it for each one. Right now you just saw I have 50 slides that I had to show you guys. Now in that particular case, what will happen is if I have to do 50 things manually, it will take time. But if I do it once and if it shows in all the 50 slides, I am a happy guy, right? That is exactly why we are going to use Slide Master. So what all can you do in a way where you do it once and it works for every other slide? You can change the background once and it will work everywhere. You can change the color, you can play around with font, you can play around with other sizes, font sizing, positions, and everything in a way where you do it once, it reflects in a lot of different ways. Right now let me just actually go on to talk about why we require, and then we can practically check it out. Right, first of all, why are we doing this? One thing is, since you know that you're adding a structured content out there, it's not like you're adding like 10 different logos in 10 different places on each slide. You know that the logo has to go in one place and it has to remain throughout the presentation on that particular spot itself. That is where you do it once and you forget. That is a great situation, right? Structured addition. The second point talks about how you can save a lot of space if your text and images are repeated. Exactly. For example, if there's a company presentation where you have to have the company logo at all times, you have to know that the company logo, the image itself, the .png or the .jpeg image, it will have some sort of space associated with it, right? It's going to consume some space on your hard disk to be there on that slide. With the concept of Slide Master, it's just present there once and it is continued throughout. Your actual size of your presentation, your PPT, does not increase just because you have used it once. That's the hugest advantage in my opinion here. You'll save a ton of space. Your PPT can go from being 25 MB, it can come down all the way to like 5 MB, 6 megabytes or something like that, just because of the fact that you've made it more efficient now. And your computer is also, whenever you're presenting it also, if you have like text heavy, animation heavy content, you might have seen that it takes a second or two to get all the processing power and be done with it. So to make sure that that doesn't happen, you're not trying to bottleneck anything, you just have to keep it as efficient as possible. And then we do that a lot here, and you would have seen all my content which adds on to that as well, right? The third thing is, it saves a ton of your time. You just have to do 1 or 2 clicks and you're done with it, right? So okay, I'm sure you guys are extremely curious about it right now. So without further talking theory into it, I just want to show all of this practically. Right now I have another presentation here called demo, which I just created for this particular thing. In fact, you know what? Let's actually do one brand new from scratch. I'm going to open a blank presentation here, right? I'm going to close demo. Perfect. Right, as you can see, I have a blank presentation open. Now, where do you find the option of Slide Master? Guys, one more thing which is very important for all of you all to understand here is, every time you do not know what an option means, just bring your mouse to that. Right, so for example, if there's animations and if I don't know what any of these mean or something, if I bring my mouse near to that, it will tell me what that particular option is. If I have to insert a table, it is telling me what I have to do. A table is a great way to organize information within your document. That's what I said at the start of the session, right? So you can see that every option has a tiny help. You have to just place the mouse there and hold it for a second, and it will, in fact, look at this. They've given you a detailed explanation, and they've also given you an example out of it, right? So how cool is this? This is something that I want all of you all to check out. Whenever you don't understand any concept, just move your mouse there, leave your mouse for a second, it's going to open that particular tab, right? Perfect. So now coming back to the concept of a Slide Master, right? So in the case of a Slide Master, you find it in the view tab when you click on the view pane here, right? So there's all the tabs, file, home, insert, and everything. Just find the last one there. It's usually the view. Click on it. Now, once you click on the view, you see the master views here, right? You see these 3 options, which says Slide Master, Handout Master, and Notes Master. This is like the let me just click on one thing here. Now, as soon as I clicked on Slide Master, it just brought me to this kind of a template like thing where it is showing me that, look, there is structure here. This is the master slide here, and everything below this you can see on the left is connected via the main one, right? So this is the master slide, wherever to which if you add any effects, any theme, any font, any changes, it will be replicated throughout here, right? Now let me actually go on to add the Great Learning logo. So if I just open the presentation here, okay, first let's add a title. This is our master slide, right? So I'm just typing something pretty random here. So I've put in a title here called "This is our master slide," right? So next, if I have to add anything here, maybe if I have to change some things around, hello learners, I do this, and this is me telling my presentation that hey, I want this to be present on all of my slides regardless of what, right? So I say hello learners, I just click close. As you can see, there's something called hello learners. If I click the new slide right now, you will see that if I wanted to replicate, it is going to replicate. Let me go to view. This is the notes master, I'm sorry. Let me just go on to use the other master view, which is basically the slide master. I clicked on the slide master. Now I want to add what? The great learnings image. But as you can see, I'm on the sub slide and not the master slide. Let me go to the master slide and hit paste. Let me copy it first. Perfect. Okay, don't show that. Let me go on to paste it somewhere here. Maybe I just want this particular thing to stay at the center of my screen at all the time. Look at this, it actually shows you in real life, right? If these were all your other slides that you would have to create, then it is showing you that hey, once you add here, everything else, all your other slides are affected by it. Now if I delete this, what will happen? You saw that on the left, everything, the logo just went. Now if I just paste it here, you can see that nothing else changes because this slide is not a master slide. This is not the master view of our presentation. Now, but then if instead of this one, you can see that I will use the slide master. Now, if I place it on slide master, hang on. Let me just go on to copy this. Perfect. Let me go on to place it now. As soon as I place it, look at the left side. Every single slide that you can see has this particular slide, right? So this is the power of the slide master. Now the logo has to be added to the top right. As you can see the logo, and you can do it either here, you can do it in edit, you can do it in a lot of places, right? You can change the theme, you can go on to add a different theme if you want, and you can see that, right? So there's a theme which got added, and as soon as I hit close master view, now this theme got added everywhere, right? So literally if I just go on to go to the full screen slideshow view, you can see, of course, the theme doesn't add to the color, but yeah, the point is you can add the theme once and that entire theme can be accessed across all of the different options there, right? So let me move to the next slide. Give it a second. As soon as I go on to move to the next slide, you'll see that the Great Learning logo is also present there, right? So this is where things, if you have a company logo or if you have a text that keeps reoccurring, you just do this once and you forget it. Now every time I hit new slide or something like that, look, every time I'm hitting new slide, it has all of these information. And guess what? This let me just remove this particular thing. This is not editable, right? I'm trying to click on this. You can hear my mouse, I presume. I'm trying to click on this. I cannot edit it. I cannot move it. It's hardcore. It is embedded there right now. So if you want like a watermark for all of your slides, you have options to directly add watermarks, but this is an easy way to do it. You just have to do there and leave it. And if you want to change something also, again, click on view, click on the slide master. You can see the logo here, right? So of course it just seems like there's a lot of stuff here. If you start deleting stuff, you'll see a lot less of stuff. But then if I go on to delete something and I hit close master view, you can see I've deleted the theme from my master. I've deleted the slide detail and the logo from my master. Whatever else was created was there. But if I create a new slide right now, right, you can see that it also follows the master theme. This is an advantage, right? So every time you let's say you're creating a presentation of maybe 20 slides, you've created the first 3 slides, you realize the pattern and you want this everywhere. So instead of every time you have to click on new slide, click on master view, just do it once at the start of your presentation and you can hit new slide 100 times and the same thing will be presented to you, right? Of course, this is where you can add your title, welcome dear learners, right? So this is just one slide. This is not the master, but you get the point out here. Now let me just quickly close this, and I don't want to save it because it's a simple presentation, right? Cool. So this is the concept of slide master, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very important thing that I want all of you all to know, and it's not something I want all of you all to know. It is something I want all of you all to actively start using as well, because once you get used to using the slide master, once you get to a point where you realize that there is tons of things which you were doing in a repeated fashion, which you can get away without doing, well, that is a process of efficiency which you guys will absolutely love, because you know that you're saving a lot of space, a lot of time, a lot of processing as well, right? So this was our concept of slide master. I hope we are clear with that. As always, you saw the different transition effect again. Now we're going to take a look at another fantastic concept where we'll try to create basic animations on our own from scratch. Now, animations are something which is absolutely stunning in my opinion when you think about it, right? It's just an image which is moving, and at the end of the day, it gives you this kind of an effect where I absolutely love animations, be it in presentations, be it in movies, or whatever it is. Right now, let me just spice things up. As you can see right now on your screen, there's a very simple animation of like a gear or a wheel turning or something. Right now, there is not a lot of things on your screen right now, but as soon as you take a look at something turning there, I bet as soon as I opened the slide, the first thing your eyes looked at was that. Right? Your eyes just focused on that, and you saw that, hey, there's something turning there. That is the point. You can use that kind of a focus point as your advantage whenever you're creating presentation. So this is again a very important step in creating a good presentation, and I think having animations is something that differentiates a good presentation from a great presentation in many applications. I'm not saying just put animations everywhere possible, no, but at the same time, don't try to avoid animations because you think it is really difficult to do, because it's absolutely not. Let me show you. Now this is a simple animation I did in literally 2 minutes, right? So there's you can see that there's another gear which is like rotating, and it'll do it forever until I move to the next slide. I can have it do it, or I can have it only rotate for 5 seconds. I can have it like do other animation effects and all of that, and then I have it move. The gear moved, and now it printed a message saying very elegant to make easy animations, right? So it literally took me 2 minutes to go on to do this, and another minute to go on to say this animation which says let's see how we made this. But yes, right now let us go on to see how we can go on to make this on our own, right? Perfect. I'm going to hit escape, and see, this is where I told you, right? If you're trying to print handouts or something, or a PPT, we're trying to convert it into a PDF or something, as soon as someone comes to this slide, this is what they'll see, right? So they'll not see the animations because it cannot happen on a piece of paper. So all of these things might look a little out of topic, out of point, but as soon as you go to your slides and when you're presenting it, on these couple of slides, it will add a lot of value, right? For example, if it's printed on a screen, they cannot see the animations, they cannot see some things moving, but as soon as we come to the full slideshow view, things work the way they're supposed to. So this is something you guys have to consider whenever you're creating presentations, right? You saw that things are moving now, and this is the supposed effect that is supposed to happen, but if you have a PDF, that will not, right? Now, how can we create this kind of a gear effect and the text effect, right? Let me actually quickly duplicate this slide. Duplicating is basically creating another one of it. Let me go to the animations tab here, and let me remove all of the animations that are present there. We can go on to do it one by one again. Right, perfect. Now let us first of all start with the gear. Let me move this text aside. I have this gear. Now if you click on the animation bar, you can see that there's tons of animations out there. I just click this little button. Let me hit escape. This button that you see with the line and an arrow, if you click it, it'll open like a plethora of your effects. Now you can see so many effects. We have something called as an entrance effect, we have something called as emphasis, and we have exit. An entrance will basically bring it on the screen. An emphasis effect will basically give it a little highlight, and an exit effect will basically take the animated object out of your screen, right? Now for example, let me just see if I can get the little gear to float in. You saw that, right? The gear just floated in. Now if I go to full screen, if I click on slideshow on that particular that particular slide, you can see that it's not there right now, it's hidden. If I make a mouse click, the gear is going to come up, right? So as soon as I go on to click my mouse, you can see that as soon as I do it, there is a simple gear that comes up and it starts moving. Right, look at this. I just clicked, and can you see that it floated up? Let me hit back again. Let me do it again. Look at this. You saw that it's floating. So it entered into our slide, to start it off, right? So this is where it's called as an entrance effect. Then if you are trying to take a look at a emphasis effect, an emphasis effect is where people would want to see that particular object there, right? Now let me click on teeter. Right? Okay, so it starts spinning. Now let us go to full screen to see what the emphasis effect looks like. See, right now I removed the entrance effect and I've just added the emphasis effect, right? So as soon as I go on to, click the mouse button, in fact, I can select an option where it just starts automatically without me clicking a mouse button as well. But you see, as soon as I click the mouse button, you saw it do a little dance. It's called a teeter. Look at that. It's moving the gear to the left and the right. Let me do it again. See, you saw that, right? That's an effect where I'm talking of where there's everything on the screen, and if I want you to focus on the gear, I'll just make the gear do a little thing where your attention is now on the gear, right? Pretty simple. Now, if I have to add multiple animations, I want an entrance effect, an emphasis effect, and also a exit effect. So let me delete the animation here. Let me click on the object that I have to animate. First of all, I want it to fly in, right? Perfect. Let's get it to fly in. Perfect. The gear is now flying. Nice. The next thing, this is one animation. If I just select another one right now, it'll get replaced immediately. So what do I want? I want multiple animations. So I just click on add animation here. The next animation that I want is maybe a spin. I want the gear to spin, right? Perfect. Now the gear is spinning, and you can see on the right I have an option which says on click. So I have to manually click it for it to enter. I have to click again to make it spin. I have to click again to exit it. But I just want all of this to happen in an order. So I'll just say after previous. So this particular effect, you can see that this effect will come. So as soon as I run this, as soon as I click my mouse, the first gear will come up, and then to rotate it, that is done automatically. I'm not doing it. That is what I set here. Okay, so I want to add one more animation here, which is basically an exit effect where I would want it to fly out, right? I just want the gear to fly out again. Now this will happen when I click it. So when I haven't clicked it, I don't want it to run away yet. Now let's go to full screen to see how this looks like. Okay, perfect. Let's take a look at it now, right? As soon as I click the mouse, you can see that the gear not only entered, it was also spinning for a couple of seconds, right? So there's two animations which happened with just one mouse click, and I can do it with zero mouse click. As soon as I come to the slide, I can still have it do that. Now, if I click my mouse again, it does an exit animation. You saw that? So if you're creating a movie, you just want the gear to come in, you want the gear to spin, as and when your emphasis on it is done, you just push it out. So this is a very, very simple effect, and it's not only this, right? So again, let me quickly go on to delete all of these effects. This is the animation pane. Once you double click on it, it just gives you more options. Now you saw in my previous slide that the gears were rotating indefinitely, right? They were almost rotating like they would never stop, but in this example, it stopped. Right now, I want to add an animation where I'm trying to get it to rotate in a way where I don't want it to stop. So I have the spin effect. Now you can see it's spinning, but for what duration? Look at the duration on your top right now in the animation panel, right? So it says only 2 seconds. Now I can either set it to like 100 seconds, 120 seconds or something, but I'll never know until when I might jump to the next slide. So it takes a bit of processing power if you do it that way, but a simple way is to just click on this button which says show additional effect options, click on the timing, and on timing you can just select if you have to start it with the previous slide itself, or do you want to click on it and then have it start. And look at it where it says repeat, just select until end of slide. Right now if I click OK, this will permanently keep spinning until I change my slide. Now let me go to full screen, and as soon as I go on to the full screen, you can see that the wheel is going to come up there and it is going to start spinning on its own. Look guys, I'm going to do one simple mouse click now, and as soon as I click the mouse, that wheel is continuously going to spin from now till I click again, which basically moves me to the next slide, right? So that is an important thing that I want you guys to understand. Now you can make it move to the left and right as well. So as you can see, you can make it spin clockwise, counterclockwise. So each of these options, each of these animation options have sub effect options. Some cases where lighten does not have any effect options, but object color has effect options where you can probably add a little bit of background color. You can do something to it, right? So you can select it, click on more options, add effects. The potential to do things here is immense. Now in the same animated tab, that the previous one that I showed you guys where I had actually made the animation, you can see, right, there is actually a path which the animation takes. It goes from here, keeps rotating, goes till there. You can see these numbers 1 2 3 4 5 6 0 1 2 3, right? These are the order of effects, right? I basically used an arc effect here, but you can order it in which way should you want the animations to come. You can select that as well. So let me actually go on to present this slide again, where you guys can tell me what order you guys found, right? Perfect. Let's give it a second. Yes, guys. So right now you have already see, as you're seeing the slideshow presentation right now, you can see on your screen that there is a thing which is already animated. There is an entity which is already moving. Now I didn't click my mouse. I just hit slideshow. So this is basically me selecting the option previous slide and it having to do it. Now it's gonna keep spinning. Until the end of the slide, until I move to the next slide. But if I click again, on click, you can see our main gear started spinning. I click my mouse again, it did a little arc and it came. But as soon as this finished, I didn't click the mouse again. So you saw there was a text present. Now there is another guy who comes in and say, let's see how we go on to do this, right? So all in all, while I'm explaining, it probably took 5 minutes or 10 minutes for this. But if I'm doing it practically, it's literally a minute. I just create the story in my head saying, okay, so this is what I want. This is what this is the movement. I think it's going to look great, that it's not overly moving, but it looks structured and nice. And also I kind of, the slide that you see right now, this is already in my head. I have a picture of this entire slide before me even creating this slide. That I agree will come with experience, but at this moment of time, I don't want you guys to think about it that way, but I want all of you all to start getting your hands messy, create animations. Yes, at the start, your animations might not be the best of the best, but once you start using it, you can create tons of things, right? So in fact, the very next section that we are about to discuss right now, of course, we're going to get the sample slide next. The effect that we actually did, right? So perfect. The next thing that we're going to actually talk about, the next fantastic concept is exactly that. Now, in the case of animation, see, I can show you 5-10 great animations which you might tend to reuse. You might tend to understand that, hey, this works really nice. But instead of doing that, I showed you the process of how to do it. Now I want you guys to go on to create some simple animations. You can create a simple animation video, upload it to YouTube, put that comment in the comment section as well. Put the link in the comment. I'll be more than happy to watch the animations, to watch your journey in Slide Masters, or in fact using animated templates present already, right? So I want all of you all to start doing things alongside this particular video, so I know for sure that you guys are also doing it, right? So perfect. The next concept that we are going to check out is a fantastic concept. This is where we are going to use animated templates. Now, when I say animated templates, what do I mean? Because previously on a slide we discussed templates, right? Templates are pretty simple. If you literally have to find a template for your entire presentation, let me quickly open up Google here and let me do a simple search: free PPT templates. Right now, you guys have to be very careful in which ones you use, because some of these are free to use for personal use, but you cannot use the templates for commercial purposes. As in, you cannot use it to pitch a product which you will sell, right? So at the end of the day, it means that you're not authorized to use it. So there is copyrights, there's many things you guys have to be careful about, but you guys definitely have a ton of options. As soon as I click on images, look at this. This will give you like a ton of presentations that you can use. Now, if I have to be very specific, saying, hey, I want to do this for my college PPT templates. Look at that. People already search for this. And as soon as I click it, look, all of these things are something that you might have seen in a college presentation. Now, this looks really good with a ton of infographics, all of these things, right? So this is what you do. But if I was doing it for a business presentation, if I just hit business PPT template, look at this, right? So again, I have a ton of these things and these are available for use. Most of them are free, some of them are not, but yes, even it's good enough for you guys to get started with the free stuff itself. Sometimes you might require, like, there are some decks which are like super premium. They're really good. And for example, in fact, this one is a premium deck. I just clicked on the first link. I didn't mean to go to this website, but you can see that this is a premium slide. They'll give you like a lot of details on it. Look at this. This is how the slide itself looks like. All you have to do is start putting content here, right? You just have to edit things around, put your content there. And if you're happy with something like this, yes, you can definitely make a purchase, save a ton of time, just edit the text and you're good to go. Look, it actually looks beautiful in my opinion, right? So all of this is literally ready for your use. Now, this is a paid template, but there are free templates where you can literally start using most of that and you can start, get a head start. Now, this is a case, right? Now, again, I've just opened. You can see all PPTs: abstract, real estate, religion, education, sports. You have like a you have a template for everything. I'll just say that, right? So you can see, look at this. There is a PPT template for everything. Now, this is one way to think about it. But my point here is using animated templates. I mean, you would have got the point by now. It's basically an animation in the form of a template. So someone else has created an animation, you use it and change it around so it works for you as well, right? Now, as always, guys, since I've sourced this out from another website, it is always important that whenever you're presenting something, you can give out the sources, citations. You can see that I got this from a website called as Tiny PPT. This was a free template that was available for download. Right now, I just want to show you that, hey, using this can really spice up your presentation. Now, whatever you look on your screen right now, it doesn't look, it doesn't look animated at all. But wait till I click my mouse. Now, as soon as I click my mouse, you saw that there is one option. It just changed the entire thing. You can see on your right on your screen, there is a logo, there is a heading, there's like infographic, there's an option. So all of these little elements are editable. Even the color of these particular wheels are all editable, right? Now, if I click my mouse again, look, it just went into another option, right? So it just showed something else. Now, if I click again, it just showed me another option. So all of these things, whenever you take a look at this, it is just stunning to think about it. Now, there is another option. Basically, as you can see, the entire gear itself is spinning. And at the end of it, we've come to a point where, the entire thing is presented. You can have it present to you one by one as well. You just have to go into the animation settings, select each and every individual entity, and you can select in which order it should go on to come. But if I were to manually sit and create all of these things, it definitely would take a lot of time, right? So, but this, using a template such as this and having this kind of an animation there is something which is absolutely fantastic, right? I believe this is something which truly increases your game when it comes to creating a beautiful looking presentation. Let me go on to full screen again. So you can have the wheel move, you can have like an entire transition effect. So this usually is pretty heavy in terms of graphical usage and all of that. So whenever you go on to create these kind of animations and use these kinds of templates, you have to make sure that you have a decent enough laptop or maybe that can handle this, or it'll just start lagging as in when you add more images. That is another reason why you should consider using Slide Master as well, because if you just use the same repeated things again and again, your computer has to load that thing again and again, and it just makes it slow, right? So perfect. So this is something that you can use. An animated template such as that works beautifully, right? Perfect. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is a fantastic concept called as SmartArt. Now, SmartArt is something I am absolutely a huge fan of. I absolutely love it. So it's a way where you guys can go on to create dynamic images. Now, when I say dynamic images, it doesn't mean that you guys have to be like, professional graphic designer or, an expert in graphic designing who knows this kind of a domain in and out to create a couple of images, or in this particular case, dynamic images, what we call as smart art, right? Absolutely no, you really do not need a ton of experience to go on to create something such as this. Now, if I were to manually do this, how long would it take, right? So first of all, I have to create this kind of a shape. I have to find the shape, I have to create it, I have to align it, I have to add a text, I have to make sure that the text is aligned. Same thing here, I have to create all of these pentagons, hexagons, whatever they are. Then I have to like add text, I have to make sure it's all at the center. You can see that this looks very structured and very artsy. Did I take a ton of time to do this? Absolutely not. How did I do this? Let me duplicate this particular slide. Let me start deleting things. Oh, there is already, the text there, which I wanted to show you guys later. Cool. Let me just remove this. Perfect. Now, where do we get smart art? Click on insert, because you're trying to insert something into your presentation. Remember it that way. Click on smart art. You can see it will show you like a ton of options, right? So there is literally like so many options here. Whenever I am giving out business presentations or something, I am confused, and I just sit here to see what effect works best to my application and all of that, right? Now here's a very fancy looking gear that I can use. If I just click OK there, now you can see that this gear thing is ready, right? I was supposed to actually do it on the next slide. Hold on. Let me delete this entire thing so we have a blank space to work. Perfect. Let me paste it here. Now this is a pre-created art, right? So this is an image which you can change as and when you wish. Now, if I click on this, I can move it to the left, I can move it to the right, I can have it have a different background as well. Look at this. Now it has a slight white background to it. I can change the color, I can change the theme of it. So the basic image foundation remains the same, but the way we go on to portray this changes. You can change colors. You can make it like really colorful with one mouse button if you want, right? Look at this. I can change all of the colors. I can change more effects with the colors. I can have abstract, which I usually prefer. You can have more colors. And now all the text that you guys have to put there as well, right? So text, I'll just put maybe like Anirudh here. And as you can see, as and when I start typing, it dynamically reduces the font text, right? Now, if I just type in, hello, how are you? You can see that it goes into multiple lines and it goes out of the shape. But then as soon as I finish writing it, you saw how it fit the entire thing into the shape beautifully. That is the magic of SmartArt. Let's just say, keep seeing the screen right now. Hello, learners. Welcome to the session. I hope you are having fun. Now I typed that, and as you can see, it just didn't make it go out of the shape or anything. It just fit everything perfectly here. That is the magic of SmartArt. You can change a lot of things. You want another shape, you can do it. You can fix up a lot of things. You want like multiple different tabs that you want to use. In fact, let's go on to create one more. Right, I go to design, I go to SmartArt. Maybe this time I want a pyramid. So I'll click on a pyramid. I click OK. So you see there's a good pyramid there. Now, even though the text looks pretty big, as soon as I go on to rename it, it'll make sure that the thing fits there perfectly. 1, 2, 3. As soon as I hit this, right? Now, of course, if I just have this on my slide, it just looks super big. So I'll have to decrease the size. Now I decrease the size of it, and let me just close the text box here. And as you can see, it still remains. But what if I want, maybe I just want this color to be white. Well, you can do it. Just come to the home tab, just change the color out there. Do you manually want it to be a lot lesser than what it looks like? You can go on to do it as well. You can see these are just very simple things which don't really take a lot of time. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to present something like this, it will help you in like do a lot of things, right? So this is exactly what, I wanted to convey to you guys with the case of SmartArt. So all of these things you see on your screen right now are images. I can distort it however I want. I can go on to expand it. I can go on to move it, reshape it, add color, change the shape, change the size. All the detail will still remain, and it will not just remain in a haphazard way. It will remain in a way where it still fits and works. Now, if I just increase the size of this, right? Look at that. All the text with the size also increased. Now what? Let me just move this one. Perfect. Now, what if I just want this block to be a little far away from the main block? Right? If I just increase the size of the shape, I can go on to do that as well. Look at this. I can go on to decrease it, and the font decreases. Maybe I want a different effect there. I can go on to pick up a different effect there. Look at that. The effect changed. Maybe the color seems a little too bright or something. I want it a little darker. And as soon as I go on to do this, just look at the left one now. As soon as I hit the full screen, right? So it just changed, and I just created another very different image from an already existing one in literally under 30 seconds. This is how you guys can go on to create and use SmartArt. Now I can show you again a ton of different things of what you can do, but I want you guys to sit and explore and to see for yourself that, hey, there is a lot of chances where, you can go on to fantastically create a lot of these things. And not just create, whenever you're using something in terms of a business presentation, or whenever you're having to create something like that, these are the things that you will want to use, and you'll be breaking your head about how you can do this manually and how it will take a lot of time. It is not possible and all of that. But with SmartArt, it literally doesn't take all that while you can do it, right? So you can have multiple different shapes, multiple different sizes. Here's another one. Let me actually go on to you saw how I removed one option. In fact, let me show you that differently. Let me go here. Now, what if I don't want this text box? I deleted it. And you saw that as soon as I deleted it, the arrow went away automatically. Now there are 4 boxes. This is what makes art smart. If I remove this, it means that this arrow and this arrow should remain, right? But no, it is intelligent enough. As soon as I remove it, it knows that arrow has no meaning, so it just removes it. If I remove this one, see? Perfect, right? So how cool is this? You really can create a beautiful looking presentation without having to do a lot of things. That is my point with respect to here, guys. So until now, we have covered Slide Master. We have covered things about basic animations. We have covered things about animated animation, animated templates. We have covered a bit about SmartArt. Well, this just looks pretty big for the slide. But coming to the next concept, right? The next concept is an important one where we are going to discuss something called as Excel data dump. This is something which everyone will use, regardless of you're a student, regardless you're a subject matter expert, regardless you're teaching, regardless you're doing it for a business presentation, especially for a business presentation. This is something which everyone will use. Now, what is the most easiest way you can go on to create a table in PowerPoint? I'll show you to that, but just before that, let us try to think about the options. The first way to do it is to actually manually create a table. There's an option to create a table in PowerPoint. The second thing that you can do is create something in Excel, take a screenshot, save it, crop it, bring it here and paste it, right? Cool. Did you know that there's a very simple way to do it? All you have to do is go to Excel, select all the tabs that you want, hit copy, hit paste, you're done. That is Excel data dump. Like literally it's that. Simply, you just have to open Excel, create a workbook, copy it, paste it, and you're done. That is what I mean by it, right? When I word out these concepts, it just seems so simple, but it is so powerful to go on to use it, right? Now, without just showing you the theory, I want to show you something practically. Look at this. This is a simple table that I created in Excel and I pasted here. It says name, Anirudh Rao, Ram, mobile number, etc. Of course, these are not our mobile numbers, but you can see that it just looks something similar like this. If I have to manually create this in PowerPoint, I just have to go to Insert, I have to go to Table, I have to select a 2x2 table, then I have to write in name, then I have to click mobile number. So you see that I have to do all of this manual task, which I can, if I already have the data in my Excel, I can pull it directly, right? Let me open a demo Excel file here. Okay, so what is it that we saw there? We saw name, we saw number, right? Perfect. These will be our headings. The name was Anirudh, number was some random thing. Let's just go add another name, Ram. Ram is my friend. He's a subject matter expert here at Great Learning. Let me add one more number for him, and this I can go on to bold. I can move all the data to the center to just make it look a little nicer. Maybe I just want a little more space. I'm trying to format the data here in a way where it looks great, correct? Look at this on your screen. Now I have this little table ready. Now just think if I had maybe like 100 rows, 100 columns or something. Now all I have to do to bring it to my presentation is hit Control C. I've copied it. Come over to my presentation, hit Control V, and I'm done. It is literally that. You saw that, right? Of course, it'll you'll have to change up things on based on your font and everything. Maybe if I want a bigger font, I can go to the bigger font. I can manually adjust the table as well. Now I can move this. I can make it even more bigger. Right, so I just zoomed in a little, and as you can see, I can move anything and everything that I choose to. Maybe if I just want the above header to be like a pretty big thing, I can do that. If I have to resize, these particular, if I have to select it, I can move it around. I can do a lot of different things. I can change the themes. I can add there's like so many things. I'll just double click on the table itself, and as you can see, it shows me like a ton of options of what I can do. Right now, maybe it just looks a little wild with the green color and all of that. If I want to change the color of this, I just select that row, go to home. I just want to make it black. Let's say black is great. See, I just made it black. Now I want to align it to the center. How do I do that? I click on middle and it's there. Now I want it to the center. That is also done. Now if I have to, let me just increase the number so it just looks bigger, right? Perfect. Maybe I just want these to be in bold. This is also in bold. Now I can do all of this directly in Excel itself. Now you already saw that. I just copy pasted everything and the formatting also came about directly, right? Now I can have any complex thing on Excel here, and as soon as I come over and bring it to it and I just hit paste, you just have this ready table. This is not an image, by the way. I can edit this. Can you see this? I can edit it, and maybe while going into a presentation, if I have to change something really quickly, the sale number or something like that, I can change it rapidly. But the manual way to do it is you just go here, you take a screenshot and you put an image. Then changing the image becomes a pain, right? You'll have to either replace it or add things on it and change it. It just becomes messy. This way, it's absolutely amazing, right? This is the magic concept of Excel data dump. It's not only just Excel. You can go on to use multiple different tools which is provided in the Microsoft Office ecosystem to do similar things as well. So this is a basic Excel dump. You're copying it from Excel and you're pasting it here, correct? The next concept that we're going to take a look at is fantastic because this is where we're going to be using charts. tables are something which is great, but my preference is whenever I see tables, I also want to see a chart with that table, or I just want to see a chart which gives me the data, right? Since it's an image, it gives me understanding 3000 times more faster, right? This is just my reference back to the same thing that I said at the start of the session. But yes, this is an important thing, having charts, having especially if you're in a business meeting, I think charts add a lot of value, right? Look at this is a chart that is entirely created in Excel and in PowerPoint, and it is just shown here, right? So again, let's just see how we going to make it here. I've just created a simple chart which says what are the popular food items which have been sold maybe in like millions or in thousands of something on that particular year. So in 2018, you can see burgers were like the top selling ones and pastas weren't selling great. But in 2021, the trend has absolutely changed. The most selling item right now is apparently a burger. Now, this is just a simple dummy chart that I created from dummy data that I just thought of. But then this is nice. I love burger, pizza, and pasta, and I see that it's good going, right? Okay, cool. Coming back to the topic, guys, we have to see how we can go on to do this ourselves. Let me, as always, duplicate this slide. Let me delete this thing. Let us have an empty slide to go on to do that first, right? Let me delete. How do we insert a chart? What's the first word that I just said? Insert. So click on insert, click on chart here. Now, as soon as you click on chart, you will be shown a ton of charts. Look at this. You can see like so many charts, combo charts, surface charts, 3D charts, radar maps, scatter plots, bar charts. Of course, for me as a data scientist, when I see this, I am absolutely thrilled to know that I have a million ways to showcase my data. But again, to keep it really simple, we'll just pick up a small clustered column chart here. I just hit OK on it. As soon as I click OK on it, it already gives you a chart, and here you can see that it gave you a small Excel box where you can put in all the data that goes here, right? First of all, instead of series 1, let's call this pizza. That's what I did, right? This is all the x-axis labels. Let me just click on pizza. Series 2, I just want it as burger maybe. Series 3, I just want it to as pasta. Nice. And category 1, 2, 3, these are what each of the categories stand for. In my case, I'll just put it as dates because like years is what I'm considering: 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Great. As soon as I click close, look at this. Like everything on your screen right now, the chart is absolutely ready. But let me just change the colors of everything so you can see it better. Let me shorten it in size. And now let me make it a little bigger. Perfect. Yeah, right? See? You saw how long I took to create this particular chart. Of course, this just has background effects and all of that, and I can edit the chart title, call it food items, right? I can give it a border, I can give it an effect. You can see this, right? So I can just do a lot of different things out here. If I have to add another effect, of course, you can add all the effects, and at the end, I would suggest, you can just change the color scale of this. So for example, you look at that each graph bar, you can either have it all in like different shades of grayscale, all different shades of blue, or you want it like really colorful where, you see this, as soon as I'm moving my mouse, it is just highlighting that particular column of data. So these are the colors that will be used. See, it just became very light. But then if I want all the text to be black, I just click on this and hang on, I select it, I click on this, and my text is black. Now if I go to full screen, you have just created a very simple graph in under 30 seconds. Now if I were to see an Excel worksheet which has maybe like 100 entries, or if I see this one graph which is showing me this beautifully, which would you want to pick? Of course, it's going to be this, right? So it always adds value, especially if you're showing some data on your screen. Make sure you guys can have beautiful looking graphs there as well, right? Perfect. So we checked out two things: how we can directly copy charts and paste it out into copy charts from Excel and paste it directly out into PowerPoint. We also saw how we can go on to create tables and do that as well. But there's another thing that you can go on to do. You can actually also copy a table directly from Excel, right? So I just click on this. Let me click on insert here. I want to create a table for this. I'll just click OK and hang on. So let me just click on insert. Let me click on charts. I'll just create a chart out of it. It's already a data in tabular form, right? Cool. Now I wanted a 3D chart. Look, I just clicked on this. Now it just gave me Anirudh Ram, and it just thinks it's probably sales numbers or something. It doesn't know it's our mobile number. So I have a chart ready. Now what I want you to concentrate on is, I have a chart here in Excel. I just hit Control C. I come to PowerPoint, and instead of, before talking about that, let's just delete this particular chart so I have some empty space to work on. Let me close this. Let me hit paste. Look, as soon as I hit paste, of course, the data, the coloring of it will still be a little different than what you would expect. But if you can double click on it, you can still edit out the chart style. It is still a 3D chart. It is still similar format. But as you can see, you just have a ton of different options that you can go on to do, and you can directly copy it, directly paste it, do whatever it is that you guys want from Excel. You can copy charts. The next part of it, I think you guys will be really interested in. It's called live charts. Now, all the data that we created previously were just taken from the chart, copied and pasted. But what if the data in the Excel folder changed? Since we've already copied it into our PPT, don't you think it will still use the old data? Well, with the concept of live charts, not anymore. Basically, with live charts, whatever data you change in Excel, it automatically updates onto your presentation, or onto your slides that you use. Let me give you an example right now. Now, this was a previous slide that I created. When I was making this presentation, I created this and I changed a bit of values. And as soon as I changed those values, those changes were automatically reflected here. Now, to go on to do that, again, let me click. Let me have a duplicate slide. Let me start from a blank slide here. Perfect. Now, what do I want to do? I go to Excel. I already have a chart. Maybe let's just change the layout of the chart. Okay, it just looks like this now. Now this chart is powered by the numbers that is there on the screen right now. So I'll copy the chart. I'll go on to my PPT. I'll hit paste. Let me just make everything black so you guys can see it. Probably the background color is just a bit too blue. Let's just do a simple color scheme such as this, right? It's a simple one. Maybe I want it a little colorful. Okay, cool. So since I do this now, you can see that nothing here is changing, right? So it all is still the same. It is still getting the data from my Excel sheet. It is still getting my data from the same Excel workbook. Now I'll open the Excel workbook on the left, and let me close this. You can see that I have my PPT on the right. Forgive me if things look minimized or small for a second. I just have to show it to you this way. So let me change this number to like 500 and hit enter. You saw what happened to the graph on the right? This is my Excel. This is my PowerPoint. So as and when my team is sitting somewhere else and they say that, hey, so Ram maybe sold like 300 fidget spinners or something. As soon as I hit enter, boom, look at that. The chart on the PPT changed. It refreshed automatically just because it was getting all of this data that you see here from this particular slide. How fantastic is this, right? So maybe if I create another graph where I'm having all, especially this will help for like sales data, your product, your marketing campaigns. As and when someone sits and starts changing these numbers on the same network as well, this can work also on the online sheets. Even on Microsoft Office 365, which is like the cloud version of this works. So just change things around and you can see that it was portrayed there as well, right? Simple. And as soon as I close this, it'll ask me if I save or not. Maybe I'll save it. So every time I open it again to change the chart, it is right there. So this is the fantastic concept of live chart. This is how I did it previously as well. Similarly, I just had a chart. I just started changing values in the table and it started reflecting here as well. So this is something which in my opinion is kind of this feature that is like a little lifesaver, and that'll help you a lot in presentations where you have data that keeps changing and you want that process to be automatic. If this wasn't automatic, what would we have been doing? We would have been manually going to our Excel sheet, copying all of that again, creating a table in Excel, copying either that table and making a chart, or we're copying the chart, pasting here. You see, that is like 5-6 very complicated steps. But with one single live chart step, one step, you just add your data, forget it. Every time you sit and change that, your PPT reflects the change. Which would you prefer? Of course, I know you guys have said we prefer the second one. That is the convenience of PowerPoint. That is the magic of how you guys can do a ton of different things. And I'm sure some of you might not have used all of these features, and that is the purpose of this video. I want to make sure all of you all know that PowerPoint is a way more powerful tool than just you use it to maybe, talk about your college project or something like that. It is something really fascinating. It is, in my opinion, and of course I share this opinion with the other people I work alongside here at Great Learning as well, that for communication purposes, PowerPoint is really a beautiful tool of how you can get your point across. And guys, until this point of time, if you guys are definitely enjoying this video and you're learning a lot, do take a second to hit that like button, because it shows us a lot of support, right? So probably by now you can see that it takes a ton of work to create these beautiful looking presentations so you guys can enjoy learning, right? So this is our point again. It takes a good amount of effort to create really good content for all of you all. So keeping that same train of thought, since I've done this thousands of times over, I want to have a section where I want to give you guys all the tips that you can use to create good or great presentations on your own. Now, until now, everything that we have covered, I am sure will help you technically, non-technically, skill-wise, creativity-wise, turning your presentation into art. All of this we have covered until now. But from now, I want all of you all to concentrate to a point where this is me giving you some really important tips to make your presentation go from good to being really, really good and impressive, right? So the first tip that I have in mind for you all, again, to reiterate, it's the same thing, guys. I want all of you all to have a clear objective. I want all of you all to know that, hey, this is exactly what is required. What am I doing? Why am I doing this presentation? What is the outcome of this? What is the outcome of the entire thing which uses presentation as a tool, right? The outcome of the entire thing that uses PPT as a tool right now is my intention that all of you all learn all this concept. See, I have my purpose. I have my goal ready even before of course, I had that before I started the work itself, but that is required. Without that, it really becomes tough. Your PPTs can be underwhelming or a little haphazard, or it won't look structured, it won't look great. It won't give the learner or anyone else who's seeing it on the other side that kind of a really nice experience, I feel. So starting with a goal in mind, saying this is exactly what I want. I told you, right? One of those animation slides where I pictured the entire thing in my head before putting everything down on the PPT. That I take a lot of time to do. I just picture everything in my head. I'm like, okay, so if learners are so there is a million things that we think about when we are teaching to make sure your experience is seamless. So all of that comes with experience, but then to get to that point, you guys can start out here, right? That's my first step. My second tip for all of you all is to make sure you use good number of visuals, good number of infographics wherever possible. Now, whatever you see on your screen right now is actually a template. It's an editable template where you can change the logo of this bulb, this mail, whatever it is. You can change a lot of different things. You can add a bit of data there. So right now it says lorem ipsum and all of that. So lorem ipsum, and that entire thing is basically like dummy data, junk data, which gets filled in. But if I had to edit it and put something on my own, maybe then the next time we discuss step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, we can have it in an infographic way as well, right? So literally, creativity and time is your limit here. So if you just go on to start doing it, you can take like 50 iterations, 100 iterations, and every single time you do a small change, your PPT gets that much better. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, everyone just spend, probably a week doing a single presentation. I'm not saying that, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you that these small changes that you do every now and then, it will actually have a bigger impact on the audience than you think it will have. So to make sure that you guys are having the most impact possible, I always suggest you take the route where you have a good number of infographics, you have a good number of visuals which you use to teach, right? That's why I've said infographics and visuals are your best friend, because they will help you get the point across better. And here as well, you can see a lot of things. You can see our general, beautiful looking Great Learning theme. You can see that I have the word highlighted where we're trying to create a good presentation. We have a subtitle. You can see I have a little image there. I have an actual infographic here, and I have a message that describes the infographic. You see, this is also a very well thought out of structure that you guys also should be looking forward from now on. The next point is transitions, right? Now, transition is something like, let me just cover it right now. Let me minimize it. And as you can see, maybe I'll just pick the first three tips slide, right? The transition I always use is a very simple one. It's a fade animation. It's very subtle. It doesn't throw you off your chart and you're like, whoa, that's an effect, right? But you can have like really wonderful effects which at the end of the day may or may not work. Now if I just show you what it looks like, let me actually go on to click full screen here. Let me go to the slide view, and as soon as it opens in full screen, you will see an effect which is like, look at this, it's like a curtain which is moving out, right? You can use that probably in a reverse fashion to end your presentation, or you can start it with that or something. But if I have every slide where things are moving in a curtain fashion, things are going around, like jumping around stuff, look at this is also a curtain, right? Now, some of you might find this really, really nice to look at. You're like, whoa, there's a curtain that's moving. But for me, I believe that when you're sitting and watching someone present this, or when you're learning something, it usually hampers the experience, right? It just takes your brain, your focus out of that thing which you're supposed to be focused on, and it just confuses you with the animation. Look at that. It's again, right? So the most important thing for you guys to do is make sure you're keeping your transitions very subtle. For example, the transitions that we have used right now from the start of the session right now, you might not have felt that there is a transition. That is the entire point. It is really subtle, and it makes sure that your learning experience isn't hampered just because I want to make the slide like fly away or something, right? Look at this. This is a very subtle transition which you will not know there is a transition. Look at your screen. We are at this previous slide. Let's go to the next tip. You saw that there was a very subtle shift and none of your focus changed. That is the point, right? Perfect. Coming to the next point, I hope we are clear with the transitions one. Coming to the next point, a very, very important thing that you guys really have to consider whenever you're making a good PowerPoint presentation is to get your audience involved. Talk to them, ask them questions, make them want to talk back to you. Because see, even right now, I am positively sure that all of you all will go to the comment section and put down certain comments, and I myself can sit and answer all of your comments there. So we are having a conversation with respect to our product. If this was a live session that I was taking, you guys would have asked questions right then and there. I would have answered it on the live session itself. So whenever you're giving your presentation, know that you're not just talking. You're not just, out there just talking things that are coming out of your mind. No, you're trying to engage. You're trying to get your audience to be equally involved. That in that way, they really feel happy that they are directly involved. That literally means that their learning rate is higher, which also means that if they are more involved and their learning rate is higher, that your point gets across faster and better and in a structured way. You just saw that I spoke about 7 or 8 different advantages in like one single sentence. Well, that is literally talking. But if I have to engage, I was going to ask you a question saying, I hope you guys understood that. Right? Now with this question, it seems like even though it's a common sentence or a question to say, right now you would be thinking, did I understand that? Some of you might say yes, some of you might say no, you might go back, watch it again, but yes, that is the point, to get you to be involved and not just sit and watch it, right? So having a quiz is usually really good. For example, what is the meaning of animations? What is the meaning of animated templates? Did we use animated templates? Can we create, live charts? Can we go on to copy tables directly and have it editable in PPT, right? So you already know the answers to all these things. And when I ask this and when you can answer it on your side, you feel happy that you learned something. That is the difference between a good presentation and a great presentation. Make sure you guys are engaging with your audience and not just talking with them. A very, very important point I want all of you all to really think about, right? Perfect. So the next thing that makes a really good presentation is to have a summary slide where you're trying to conclude everything, right? The first thing you'll hear people saying is whenever you're presenting something is first impression is the best impression. I agree. Whenever you're trying to open something with a presentation, you're opening your speech, you're opening your talk or something, it has to be really strong in a way where, the audience want to listen to you. But it is equally important to also end on a high is what I would say, to have a good last impression as well. Because if someone, now I thank you all so much that you guys, sat through these 2-hour tutorial video, and I bet you guys learned a lot of new things. So having that kind of an impression at the last where you conclude everything that we have learned from the start to the end, That is really a beautiful thing. That is why whenever you see all the content here at Great Learning, you'll see that all of our subject matter experts will have an agenda at the start to make sure that they're telling you everything that they're going to cover, and they're going to have a summary where they've just described everything that you guys learned as well, to just round it up, make you feel good about everything you guys just learned, right? That experience alongside good content, in my opinion, makes a great PowerPoint presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, have a good summary slide. A summary slide should not be like a slide which has like ton of different data or information there. Now we have covered 50 slides. If you have a summary slide, you can literally just call it a summary and speak about it, or you can have 1 or 2 points and talk about it. It doesn't mean you have to take all the data from the last 50 slides, put it there and talk about it for another 10 minutes. No, it has to be clear, it has to be crisp, it has to be concise. The 3 C's rules that I follow: clear, crisp and concise. It means the same thing, but when I say it out that way, it'll just make me want to think on how more clear I can make my presentation, right? With that, coming to the next point, I think it's equally important for all of you all to understand that a presentation is not just something where you start putting in text, maybe from your textbooks, maybe from Google or something, add a couple of images, you're done. No, it is not this kind of a game you play where you just put in bullet points, pick up images from Google and you have a good presentation. Usually don't think about it that way. Have a story in your mind. Tell a story from start till the end. Have a conversation with your audience, even though you're the one with the mic, or maybe you're the one who's teaching, right? Right now, I bet this feels like, we two are talking, right? Rather than me teaching and you just sitting simply and listening. We are talking, having a conversation. I just probably gave you an entire story of how you guys can go from being complete beginners in PowerPoint to knowing all of these things which you might not. So this is a story, right? So this is a thing that we built up. It's an art, it's creativity. You guys have to start doing it. This comes with experience. Do not just start filling up your slides from all the random things that you can find. Have structure, know it, have a meaning. Even in fact, this image is also not random. It has meaning, right? For example, look, I'm giving you tips. That's why I have an image called tips here. Now this image talks about a guy who's a little bit worried because he or she thinks that the PowerPoint is not good enough. Well, this is a guy being worried. This is the emotion I want to bring out for you guys as well. So that's the reason I say do not fill up your slides with like slide points or maybe like images from Google. Make it a great looking presentation, right? And this brings me to the most important point of my tip section here. Is I want to tell you all to run a spell check compulsorily every time you create a presentation, right? Now, of course, if there are images and the spelling is wrong in the image, you cannot do anything. But if you have text where you might have spelling mistakes, it's really bad and it will actually throw people off the bus. So they'll think that, hey, this is not very well done. There are spelling mistakes. So a small spelling mistake can ruin the entire thing. And I've seen it happen when I was an audience in a couple of seminars as well. If there is 1 or 2 spelling mistakes, it happens. All of us do mistakes. But then to the audience, that looks like it's such a big thing that, I don't know, it just felt like that was a major governing factor. This was me maybe 5 or 6 years before when I was at a seminar and I saw there was a tiny spelling mistake. I saw 2-3 people next to me talking about it and I realized it's not just those 2 people. It is how literally everyone feels like whenever they see a spelling mistake on the screen, right? It's not a big thing. It's not a crime. You can avoid it. Make sure you hit review tab, go to the review tab, hit on spelling. As soon as you click on spelling, it will say, look, it's already telling you typos not on our watch. Let us check your spelling. If you hit this, it will check your spelling on the entire slide. If you want it for the entire presentation, you can do it. Do you want to do it for a single slide? Whatever it is possible to do. Make sure you guys check your spellings all the time, right? It is in my opinion a good practice, and in my opinion, to reiterate, it is something that's going to take your presentation from good and make it really better, right? So guys, with this, we have come to the end of this PowerPoint tutorial. Now we had a lot of things to learn, right? We understood how we should go on to learn PowerPoint. We actually started learning the tool. We understood the user interface. We understood all the tabs, all the options. We understood that you can export it in more than one way. You understood that you can make a movie just from PowerPoint, not any other tool. We learned so many concepts. We had a step-by-step guide where we discussed of how you should learn. We took a look at the concepts such as the Excel data dump. We looked at Slide Master, animations, animated templates, using templates, and we also covered a thorough section where I gave you some really good tips that you guys should be using whenever you're creating a beautiful presentation, right? So with this, I definitely hope to see you guys create maybe better presentations if you're already doing, but then at the end of the day, I hope you got to learn a lot with this particular session, right? So guys, with that, you've come to the end of the session. Thank you so much for watching. And guys, a very important thing is, if you guys did this alongside me, or you guys created your own animations, your own effects, or your own presentation that you want to share, please feel free to head to the comment section and just put down your videos or maybe links to your PPTs as well. I'll be more than happy. In fact, I'll be delighted to take a look at what it is that you guys have built, using the knowledge that you learned from this video. All right, so make sure you guys do that. I'll be more than excited to have a conversation about this in the comment section. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching.
I want to introduce you to Great Learning Academy. This is a free initiative by Great Learning where you can have access to over 200 plus courses with 1000 plus hours of free content on all of the trending high demand domains, absolutely free. Register now to complete the course and get your free certificate of completion as well. Check out the link in the description box of the video below for more details. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. This is done to make sure you do not miss out on any of the new updates or video releases from Great Learning. And of course, guys, if you enjoy this video, show us some love and do like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, right? So make sure you share this video with your friends, colleagues, and everyone who can make use of it. And at the end of it, make sure to comment on the video if you have any queries or any suggestions, and I'll be more than happy to respond to all of your comments.